Where do the Texans have an advantage over the Colts? What position groups does Indianapolis have the advantage? Let's break it down. Welcome into the channel. I'm Cody Stoots. Let's talk some Texans, Colts. Win and you're in. Basically a playoff game here on Saturday night. A fantastic finish to the regular season. And what more could you ask for if you're the Houston Texans? I suppose you could ask for having this thing wrapped up a couple weeks ago, and maybe that's the case next year. But win and you're in. You think about where the Texans have been these past few seasons, the disappointment in the playoffs in 19, how bad 20, 21, and 22 were, and to be here getting the opportunity to win and make the playoffs, man, that's fantastic for the Houston Texans, certainly headed in the right direction. As far as this game goes, I thought it would be a fun exercise to see where exactly the Texans have an advantage and where exactly the Colts have an advantage in the various position groups in this matchup. So let's get into it. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, offensive line, and kicker. I'm going to add it in here a little bit. Kicker / punter. Okay, I didn't put the punter on there, so I feel a little bad for Cam Johnston and Rigoberto Sanchez, but we're going to add that in there. But we'll go through these position groups, and with wide receiver, just humor me. The tight ends are in there as well. Let's start with the kicker / punter. This one's going the Texans' way. Ka'imi Fairbairn's got a lot of range, especially when it's indoors. Matt Gay's missed a few kicks here in the past month or so for the Colts. And then Cam Johnston, his average is better than Rigoberto Sanchez, and he's put more inside the 20 than Sanchez. So we're going Texans on that one. Offensive line. Now, the Colts are 5th in sacks allowed when it comes to the offensive line. So they're definitely aiming for a check mark here. And they're really good at opening holes for running backs. They've protected both the quarterbacks that they've had to protect this year. They really don't allow a lot of sacks. As I mentioned, 5th in sacks allowed, and they've opened up the rushing attack for multiple running backs over the course of the season. The Texans have done the same thing. The Texans are only 4 sacks different than the Indianapolis Colts. This offensive line's played together for a few weeks. They've been opening up the rushing attack for Devin Singletary the past few weeks. I'm also giving the Texans a check here, and that gives us a tie between the two teams when it comes to the offensive line. At wide receiver, this one to me easily goes to the Indianapolis Colts. I really like what Michael Pittman brings to the table. He's fantastic, dynamic. Alec Pierce can get behind a defense. Josh Downs, their rookie from North Carolina, has had a couple of moments. They've done enough with the tight ends as well to get things going. I'm going to go with the Colts on this one. If Tank Dell was playing, we know he's not because his season's over. If Noah Brown was playing, maybe it's an easier conversation, but the Colts, they get the check mark here on wide receiver. Let's go to the running back spot. You know, when you just say the names Jonathan Taylor and Devin Singletary, you start to put the check mark over there on the Colts side of things. Not so fast, my friend. I say not so fast to say that, yeah, the Colts deserve a check over here. Jonathan Taylor looked like the JT of old in the last game that the Colts played, and he scored a touchdown in the 4 straight games that he has played. But it hasn't always looked like the JT of old all season long, and the way Devin Singletary's playing right now, he deserves a check mark as well. We're going to call this one a tie. It's pretty close. We're going to call this one a tie. Now we get to the quarterback spot, and my goodness, there's no ties. 2 check marks for the Texans, a huge advantage over the Colts on this one, as the Texans have C.J. Stroud at quarterback and the Colts have Gardner Minshew. Now, it was almost 3 checks, but Gardner Minshew can move around in the pocket a little bit. D'Amico Ryans talked about that this week. He can move around in the pocket just a little bit. He can extend plays with his legs. He can run for a first down every now and then. He's had a couple of 40-plus yard rushing performance in the past month for the Colts in one of their games. And when guys are open, he can get it to them on time, get the ball out quick. It was almost 3 checks, but it's just 2 checks in this matchup, which gives the Texans a 2-check advantage as we head over to the defense. Let's dive into that defense here. We'll again work bottom to top, and Notice that the Texans have 5 check marks from the offensive side, and the Colts have 3. So we'll total them up here at the end. Head coach, both teams are getting big check marks. These are the 2 best head coach hires this hiring cycle. Shane Steichen was my number 2 choice behind DeMeco Ryans. Heck, DeMeco Ryans might have even been the number 1 choice for some people in Indianapolis, but both coaches have done a great job this year. There's no huge oh my God, they're doing this terrible. Look, I know DeMeco's had some moments on defense, calling the defense for this team where it hasn't looked great, but you take the teams from where they were last year and where they are now, both coaches are getting a check mark. Safety play. I'm going with I wanted to say the Texans right away, but I can't for sure say the Texans. And then I think about what the Colts have at the safety spot, Nick Cross, Ronnie Harrison. I don't know that anybody's getting a check for the safety spot. Can we go no check? Can we go just nobody getting a grade on this one? So it's kind of a tie. It'd be a tie if they both got checks. So we'll say nothing on the safety spot. At the corners, though, we're going Texans. Big check for the Texans on this one. Derek Stingley, Steven Nelson, Desmond King in the slot. Man, that is a really good crew. The Colts are not bad at cornerback. The Texans, to me, are just better at the cornerback spot. Now, here come some of the Colts' success. Linebacker, I'm going 2 checks at linebacker for the Colts. 2 checks at linebacker. Zaire Franklin, it's a Pro Bowl snub, fantastic. EJ Speed's really good. I like their linebacking crew a lot. The Texans, they have a solid enough linebacking crew, but going up against this Colts linebacking crew, that's a 2-check advantage for the Indianapolis Colts. And when we get to the D-line, I'm going 2 checks over here for the Colts D-line, but we're going to give the Texans a check as well. This is a really good defensive line matchup. Both these offensive lines are going to have their hands full. Talk about one of the best defensive linemen in all of football, in DeForest Buckner, and a bunch of helpers with him along that defensive line. Kwity Paye, who was a really fun draft pick from a couple of years ago that I really liked. Samson Ekubom, who's been on a bunch of different teams and had a bunch of success for those different teams. Tyquan Lewis. I mean, the Colts can throw guy after guy after guy after guy at you when it comes to the defensive line. The Texans, no slouches over on their side. Malik Collins, Sheldon Rankins, Will Anderson, some of the depth pieces that they've had as well. Those guys are solid. The Colts are just a tad bit better when it comes to the defensive line. So that's how the defense stacks up here. So the Texans, 5 from offense, 6, 7, and 8 total from the Texans. The Colts, 3 from offense, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, man. 8 as well for them. This is about as evenly matched as it can get. Vegas feels the same way with how close the spread is on this one. Head coach advantage, neither team. You know, the D-line, the linebackers being that good versus the Texans, that kind of gives them a big edge. But ultimately, scoring points. Yeah, defense is fun, but scoring points is how you do it. And the offense, that's right, the offense with C.J. Stroud, I like the Texans just a tad bit more. That quarterback check mark, I know it was 2-0. It means a little bit more than 2-0. So we'll give the Texans the chalkboard win. I guess it's not really a chalkboard if I'm using a green marker on it, but you get the idea. So the Texans, slight advantage in the positional matchups against the Indianapolis Colts. Does that mean they're going to win? Well, let's tune into Houston Football, www.houfootball.com for my official score prediction. The link's in the description down below. And that score prediction and final thoughts article, it's always free on game day. But subscribe to the channel. And if you want to subscribe for all the content, it starts at just $7 a month at Houston Football, where I do all my writing about the Houston Texans. You know what else I do? Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the best way to play fantasy. I love what they bring to the table with their Pick'em format. It's predicting higher or lower on various stats and putting 2 to 5 of them together in one entry and then winning when you get it correct. Heck, they've even got the insured entries where you can win even when you don't get them all correct. Underdog Fantasy, great pick'em format. So much fun. The best way to play fantasy. My viewers are going to get 2 times their first deposit. That's right. 2 times your first deposit. Use my promo code STOOTS, STOOTS. 2 times your first deposit. Use my promo code STOOTS, STOOTS. The link in the description down below should autofill for you. If not, type it in. Stoots. Deposit 10, get 20. Deposit 50, get 100. It's up to $100. So deposit 100, play with 200. It's going to be fun to play through the playoffs. It's going to be a lot of fun to play when the baseball season gets here. Basketball's here. They've got soccer, college football. They got everything in the pick'em format. It's not just the NFL. And each and every week, we put together an Underdog Fantasy pick'em entry with the Texans game. So let's see what we can put together. This is what the pick'em screen is going to look like when you go to underdogfantasy.com. We're going to go down here to the NFL. We're going to collapse all of these, pull up that Texans game, and let's fire away and put together a 20-timeser for this matchup. All right, CJ Stroud, big game for CJ Stroud. What does he do in huge games? Uses his legs. Let's go higher on the rushing yards for CJ Stroud. We're staying away from Dameon Pierce, but I like Devin Singletary to get going on the ground. The Texans have to run the football well to win this game. Give me higher on Devin Singletary as well. All right, Nico Collins, he's definitely catching that many passes. He might catch that many passes in the first half. Let's go higher. Kaimi Fairbairn, it's a dome. You might need him at the end. If the Texans are scoring touchdowns, they get extra points. We can get over that 7. We can get higher than that 7.5 kicking points. And we've got to figure out a Colts player to put in there. You can't put all Texans in there. Let's find us a Colts player. I told you about Pittman. He's really darn good. How about we put a Scorcher in here, which helps multiply our payout, and all of a sudden 20 times turns into 25 times. How about $10 to play for $250? We've hit 2 20-timesers this season in the official Underdog Fantasy Cody Stoots YouTube channel pick'em entry. We've hit it twice. Let's hit it a third time here on the final one. Out the door, it's as easy as that. And again, all sports, tons of different options for you. They even got specials for you, which are almost like free spaces and bingo. Man, Underdog Fantasy, promo code Stoots. Hit the link in the description down below. If you're still watching, you got to know. We got Houston football hats, baby. Houston football is the website where I do all my writing. We got Houston football hats. Look at these beautiful trucker hats, the navy blue, the Houston football logo, incredibly embroidered in there by my guy, Shorty, who does all my embroidery. It's a snapback. It's that trucker hat, which everybody loves right now. Boom. Get you a Houston football hat in the description down below. I've made it as affordable as I can for you. We're going to raffle one of these bad boys off, so be looking for the raffle. If you want to wait for the raffle opportunity, I certainly understand. If you want to buy one, I package them, I hand label the label, and send them out myself. You won't be disappointed. Gosh, these are so nice. So nice. Don't miss out. Don't miss out. And the Texans, don't miss out on the playoffs if they beat the Indianapolis Colts. We put together the position group advantages here in this video, determined with an asterisk maybe that the Texans are ahead of the Colts on that one. That's why we play the games. This has been a fun video to do. Hope you've enjoyed it. Appreciate you watching the video, and I can't wait till we talk Texans again soon.